What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roost. So I'm going to review the unreleased album by Limp Bizkit. Basically, this product is called Stampede of the Disco Elephants, and it was supposed to come out in 2014, 2015, pitches like that. A lot of these songs were released in 2013, 2014 when they were signed, basically when they were signed to Cash Money and stuff like that. This particular pitch is supposed to be a pretty heralded album. I definitely feel like the concept of this album from what I got. This is a partial album review just because the actual true Stampede of the Disco Elephants track list never really came out. There's only really 4 songs that were confirmed to at least partially been on the particular project. I'd had to say is really this album's kind of a mystery in a lot of ways. Like Fred Durst at one point had said that this album was released to the internet somewhere or something like that, but you really had to search for it. There's some pitches like that kind of went along with it, but really there's really not any true official track list. I did like the fact that Wikipedia at least put like a partial track list up on. They at least put up like a partial track list of songs that were supposed to be on Stampede of the Disco Elephants on the Still Sucks article from 2021 as far as that pitch kind of goes. But basically, this was the album that's supposed to come out after Gold Cobra. It was a big deal. It was supposed to be like a pretty gnarled type one. No, definitely had to say this with these partial songs that I listened to, these 4 songs, which would be Light, City of Angels, Ready to Go featuring Lil Wayne, Thieves, the Ministry cover, and Endless Slaughter. Basically, these particular songs are some of Limp Bizkit's craziest around that particular point. I definitely think this would have been a full-blown classic had it come out in like 2014, 2015 when it was supposed to come out. Definitely pretty gnarled type pitch. Definitely just has some wicked kind of snarl about it. Just the riffage on this particular album is pretty crazy. I think it's crazier than Gold Cobra. It's definitely crazier than like Significant Other, some of those type times. This is just a very amalgamated type sound. This is really a sin that this album didn't come out back in 2014 or the mid 2010s as far as that pitch kind of happened. And I think partially the reason why I didn't was just because Fred Durst was kind of a perfectionist around that particular time. It's just kind of the concept that he really worked on the album for about 10 or he really worked on the album for pretty close to like 10 years as far as that pitch can happen. Because I want to say even as recent as like 2018, 2019, folks still thought that Stampede of the Disco Elephants was going to come out. I feel like they should probably drop like some degree of quality for it. I definitely think it wouldn't be too much of a big deal to just compile like 10 or 11 or 12 songs that they worked on between like 2012 and about 2016, 2017 or so, some of those type pitches, and just be able to throw it together on like an album. There is actually an album artwork. You're going to see that in the thumbnail of this particular video. It's pretty awesome concept. I do like the particular artwork for this particular one. Just a good concept. Just kind of one of those classic, notations of just not putting out an album that just had so much hype and belief behind it as far as that particular pitch can have. But it is a good concept. So this album's going to get a classic score. I'm just going to go ahead and say the 4 songs I listened to on here, all 4 of these songs I recommend pretty highly. So this album's going to get a 10 out of 10. At least the partialness of it, I'd have to say. I'm really makes me quite curious as to what this full-blown album would have sounded like in like its completed format, I'd have to say. But apparently, I think if you look absolutely hard enough, and I do mean like scour Google and places like that and Bing and some of those type places, you may actually be able to find like this album in its entirety. But I don't know if it would be official or just stuff like that. There's a bunch of folks that have compiled like songs, but I just would say that at least in terms of like the closest to official, unofficial format of this particular album says that these are the 4 songs that were part of the album. So I'm just going to review those. So go ahead and talk about these. Basically, I recommend all 4 of the songs like I was saying, so it gets a 10 out of 10. Basically, Light, City of Angels is a real nice song. This is a highlighted one. It's like a poppy kind of rap rock commercial gem, I'd have to say. This is like a poppy kind of rap rock commercial gem, I'd have to say. This is Limp Bizkit on some airplanes and Love the Way You Lie type vibes, I'd have to say in particular. And this is just an upbeat type song and work shift type tune as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. So definitely B.O.B. Definitely like Airplanes by B.O.B. and Love the Way You Lie by Eminem. Just some of those kind of work shift, kind of just day malaise type songs, summer day malaise type tunes as far as that pitch kind of having spring and summer day malaise type tunes as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Very 2010s reminiscent, I'd have to suppose. Very influenced and affluenced by some of the stuff that was popping around, like commercial work shift type haze of like summer singles as far as that pitch kind of went along with it. This stuff, definitely some of the stuff that Hollywood Undead and Deuce and Eminem and some of those type folks were kind of doing, and B.O.B. and some of those type folks were kind of doing in like the early and mid 2010s as far as that pitch kind of happens. So I want to say that this single came out, I want to say that this single was released like in 2013, so it's a pretty good pitch to kind of get that one. But it's just very lighthearted. It's not as super gnarled as they could have gotten on this particular album, I'd have to say, but it is still a nice song. It's just kind of like a typical kind of work shift type one, just for cruising home, just that sort of pitch. Just got done with work, some of those type pitches, just kind of appreciating the summer breeze and some of those type things, I'd have to say. It's basically a nice little typical blue collar type tune for a Limp Bizkit and just overall rap rock this overall rap rock type fare just within a commercial format. So that's a nice one. Very affable and ready to go. Just some blue collar type stuff that just works great for that. So ready to go is a pretty highlighted one. This has Lil Wayne on there. This is a real nice one. The energy is a little bit more turned up on this one. Not as much as Thieves and Endless Slaughter, but still pretty highlighted one. This is like a good vanilla rap rock single, I would have to say, for mid 2010. It's a rap rock single for some definite rev mid 2010s energy, I would have to say in particular. This song is crazy, but Thieves is worse, I would have to say. And by worse, I mean just more gnarled and completely crazier, I'd have to say, just within that pitch. And it's a great song to get turned to, I'd have to say. So Lil Wayne does a pretty good job on here. Not as normally as boisterous as he normally is, a kind of question. I definitely feel like Lil Wayne usually has some more eviscerative type lines on here. It just kind of, it's just a more packaged kind of Lil Wayne compared to some of his mixtape type fare and stuff like that. I definitely would like to see more Limp Bizkit and Lil Wayne type team ups as far as that pitch can happen. It's really too bad that this album didn't come out on Cash Money, because I definitely think there could have been some crazier type stuff. But this is pretty good. This is like a rock chart single. Definitely would have been pretty nice to have heard this on rock charts back in the day as far as that pitch kind of goes. It's a real nice one just for that standard format, just something similar to Rage Against the Machine and some of those type folks, Cypress Hill, some of those type rap rock folks from like the mid 2010s. There's some good pitches with some of that type stuff. Very vanilla type rap rock type tune. I mean, it's crazy, but not quite as crazy, I'd have to say. This is definitely kind of like the commercial. This would definitely kind of be like the banner lead single that just kind of kicks things off as things start to get crazier on like the future singles as far as that pitch kind of goes. But definitely for like the rock charts, it's pretty relatively good. I mean, it's a great song, but just kind of the concept, the energy is just probably like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 in terms of craziness. I'd have to say that's just kind of concept. But one of the craziest songs I've heard from Limp Bizkit, and that's pretty, this is like a sin that this is not on any Limp Bizkit album, is Thieves, the Ministry cover. This is a real super gnarled type one. This is a super gnarled and vicious rap rock energy. I'd have to say this is definitely one of Limp Bizkit's craziest songs overall. I'd have to say this is a real complete supreme type one. This is a great song to get cranked to completely. The song is some complete headbang type energy and just great. The song is some complete headbang type energy and a great song to get fucked up to. I'd have to say overall, just has some several drinks in your systems and stuff like that. Just go to a concert, just get crazy. I mean, obviously be composed about it, but just within the concept of just getting gnarled and having a great time, dancing a bit, getting some drinks in your system, having some snackage, some stuff like that. Just a great time to kind of go out in like the summer haze energy, just a blistering kind of heat, just like Nookie from back in the day. Obviously, this would be like the 2014, 2015 type vibes of Nookie, some of those type pitches. It's a real nice one that just, I mean, Fred Durst just completely shrieks on this particular song. So this whole song is just complete one of their craziest. It's not like this is like the complete opposite of Lights or something like that. Just had the energy is just complete gnarled and just in like a shrieking type mode, I'd have to say in particular. So it's definitely one to have for like that vicious when you're just trying to tune out kind of energy and just get crazy. And then Endless Slaughter is a pretty nice one. This is a good highlight as well. I really like this one. This energy is probably a little bit turned down. The energy on the song's a little bit turned down compared to Thieves, but it's a little bit more turned up compared to Ready to Go. It's kind of an in between both of those. And this is kind of a lengthier song. It's just kind of a medley. This is like a concert medley of like some crazy riffage, I'd have to say. It does a lot of things in this particular song. It feels like there's almost like 2 or 3 songs in this particular song and just kind of switches between some of those formats. Great song to perform, I'd have to say, or to see at like a Great song to perform, I'd have to say, or to see at like a Limp Bizkit concert, I'd have to say in particular. This is just some great summer energy. This is a real durable type song, I'd have to say. And this is vintage Limp Bizkit, I'd have to say. And this song is just some vintage Limp Bizkit snarl, I'd have to say. So it's a good concept. Definitely the riffage on here is pretty great. Wes Borland does a pretty excellent job with this particular type of stuff. This real shreddage and this stuff like that. The riffage really goes pretty well. There's like some guitar solo in the middle of the song that works pretty heavily, I'd have to say. And then in particular, there's just typical kind of Limp Bizkit type fare, like their Chocolate Starfish and Significant Other, just like in their Chocolate Starfish and Significant Other days from back in the early 2000s, late 90s, as far as that pitch can go. So it's just a good concept, real excellent stuff. So yeah, this pseudo album, this partial album gets like a 10 out of 10, I'd have to say. This, the energy is real crazy. I definitely would have wondered what some of these other songs could have been like in terms of Limp Bizkit's just sheer craziness. If they could have had more songs like Thieves, more songs like Endless Slaughter, more songs like Ready to Go, even just some more singles just within that relative pitch, this probably would have been a classic. Even, I mean, it might have damn near revitalized nu metal in like 2014, 2015. I mean, it might have even revitalized nu metal in like 2014, 2015, I would have had to say. I definitely feel like this album just had a lot going for it. Definitely could have done that. Just some of that vicious kind of gnarled craziness that just could have worked off to the extreme temperatures and stuff like that. I'd have to say it's just a real shame that this album didn't come out. Definitely feel like it should. I just think they should compile songs that they did between like the mid 2010s, early 2010s, like the mid 2010s as far as that pitch gun goes, and then just drop this project. I guarantee it'd probably sell. And just kind of have happens to be the thing. The social score is going to get a 10 out of 10 also because this is just craziness. This is Limp Bizkit more turned up. Definitely compared to the vibes of Still Sucks, I feel like the energy is just more turned up. They had a lot of dad vibes and grandpa kind of vibes on. They had a lot more dad vibes and grandpa kind of vibes on Still Sucks, I'd have to say in particular. But this one's just them kind of furthering their prime as far as that pitch can happen. Just the same kind of energy, just more in their prime type stuff that they had on like Gold Cobra and some of their early 2000s type albums, I'd have to say. But it's just kind of the concept. This is some viciousness. They were crazed on this particular stuff. They were social. They had the headbanging type energy, the outing type fare, some summer energy, just stuff like that. Even some commercial songs to radio and just stuff like that as far as that pitch kind of goes. There's blue collar songs, nightclub type songs, outing type songs, summer type songs, just stuff like that. Just real kind of complete vicious kind of craziness that just works pretty well. I just really question what this full blown album would have sounded like. So that just kind of happens to be a thing. But in terms of future, this is like the last Limp Bizkit project to get to, unless they drop some more projects down the road, I'd have to say. But their release schedule is pretty finicky, I'd have to suppose. So it's just kind of sporadic as to when we'll get some more Limp Bizkit. But this is definitely pretty nice one. This is like the true follow up to Gold Cobra, I'd have to say. Still Sucks is kind of here and there. That does have like one or two or three gems, something like that. But this is like the true vicious one. I would definitely recommend either purchasing these songs individually or just downloading them, something like that, just in that relative pitch. If they're not for sale, something in that relative pitch, because this is just another extreme highlight for Limp Bizkit and definitely a classic. I do feel like more than likely this would have been a classic had this album come out, but that's the basic concept about it. I do recommend this. I would just check out the Limp Bizkit playlist of all the reviews I've done for them. Most of these albums I've given like a 10 out of 10, so that really says something about their particular quality. This is just another good highlight for them. I definitely recommend finding this content in somehow or some way, I'd have to say.